Hi, welcome back again. So, today we're gonna go with a leek dish. This is gonna be completely vegan, so yeah, we're gonna go with that. In this case, we're gonna take leek as our main component. We're gonna smoke it and kind of burn it. This time, I was thinking about doing it in a barbecue, but let's be real, it's November and nobody's gonna use a barbecue outside unless you're like super awesome. I would totally do it, but I'm afraid of our neighbors just gonna look at us and be like, guys, are you serious? It's November. Perfect time for a barbecue. But now we're not gonna do this. This time, for your purposes, we're gonna do it in the oven, so it's a lot easier, and yeah, for that reason. On top of it all, we're gonna season it with a vinaigrette made out of fenugreek. Also, we're gonna take one of my favorite seasonings, to be honest, like one of the things that you should always have home, for instance. Basically, it's brown yeast, like caramelized or dried, no, dried is the wrong word. Roasted yeast would probably be the right word for this. Also, we're gonna make a cream out of onions. There's gonna be more like an onion caramel type that we're gonna use to counter the, what?
Onion caramel again.
Do we use onion caramel?
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't make the caramel. We just made a video of onion sauce. All right, so for our first step, you wanna probably get the biggest leek that you can find.
Both.
Right? All right, so actually, you know what? We can totally take these roots as well, to be honest. You know what? We're gonna use these.
What?
I don't know, I'm not sure yet. We're taking this. So what we wanna do for these leek things, these roots here, just gonna cut them down. We're gonna throw them in water so they get rehydrated again. If you don't have any on the bottom, that's, well, then you can probably think them away, but I think these might be awesome, to be honest.
Have you tried it before?
No, maybe it's disgusting, but we'll find out. So I just throw this in water, spread this out a little bit, you know. That's actually kind of good because you want to wash them anyway. So you're probably gonna...
It's dirty.
It's dirty as hell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna rinse this a few times. I'm also gonna rehydrate them a little bit, you know, so they get back in the shape. All right, from the leek, you're probably just gonna want to take a centerpiece of this, right? The more white it is, the more easier it is to bite. So if you have here, you're gonna have a lot more structure, but we're gonna break that anyway. So we're just gonna take this and we're first gonna throw it in aluminum foil, add a little bit of oil and salt, and then we're just gonna throw it in the oven really, really hot. So one leek should probably be around like 1 or 2 portions, depends on the size, but yeah, I think this should be probably 2 portions, to be honest, depending. I gotta see how small this thing gets in the end. So yeah, we're just gonna take this one, add it in, put it in aluminum foil, wrap it up, and there you go. And then we're gonna throw it in the oven around 200 degrees Celsius for about, I'll let you know, but 200 degrees Celsius. Depending on the size of the thing, this might vary. So for the fenugreek vinegar, you're gonna need 50 grams of sugar, 160 grams of vinegar, 60 grams of white wine, and 30 grams of roasted fenugreek seeds. You could use any vinegar you like, but we use rice vinegar for this one. Ear rape for the editing process. All right, now I'm just gonna quick blend this. All right, here we go. Now I'm gonna add the syrup.
Nice.
I'm gonna blend it again.
Blend it.
All right, now I'm just gonna keep this in here, leave it in there for about 30 minutes, an hour maybe, like if you want it tasting like more, then obviously leave it in longer, but a half an hour should totally do the trick. By the way, while we're at it, we have some stuff planned and coming. We're working on our kombucha, which will be ready in a few days, which means we're gonna do our first trials with this. So if you wanna see that, stick around. We're gonna make some crazy stuff with this thing. So the next thing, onions, obviously. We use a lot of onions in our dishes, could that be?
You love onions.
I do love onions. Onions are like one of the greatest vegetables. I'll make you a crazy onion one day, woman. You'll see.
Crazy onion.
You'll fucking love it.
Do you want to make what you didn't make before?
I'll figure something out.
I'll
figure something out. Good, so we're gonna just peel this onion, right? Like all of them, obviously. And then we're just gonna chop them down a bit. We're gonna start up a caramel, bring it to 210, 215 degrees, and then we're just gonna throw these in and let it caramel and take the juice out of the onion as it's caramelizing process. I'm gonna show you what I mean. Different types, like if you have the balance between sour, sweet, and like whatever else you wanna use.
Umami.
Let's not say umami. Don't ever say umami. I don't know, like umami is just like not my type of.
It's bad. bad word.
It's a bad word. First of all, it sounds horrible. It doesn't really sound like anything professional. Plus, it's not a really definable flavor. It's not like sour, salty, sweet, or whatever. It's just like umami. You can define umami like any kind of stuff. Anybody will be like, this cereal has a ton of umami inside. And you'll be like, yeah, totally. But it's not really defined what umami is. So
It's something like just good taste.
yeah, but good taste is so variable.
And so subjective.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who says umami? It's just like so weird. I can't take people
Just
seriously.
compare.
Oh no.
Oh, he's crying.
I'm not crying, it's man tears.
The reason why I am chopping the onions now is, yeah, I don't cry because I'm like tough.
No, it's not tough. She just has contact lenses, right? Yeah, B-rolls. Let's go. Dancing fingers. So we're gonna go with our sugar, right? Gonna take our pot, add the sugar, add a little bit of water inside so it burns like evenly. Evenly was a word.
Evenly. Caramelize evenly.
Caramelizes evenly.
Otherwise, part of the sugar will just burn and the other part is just like still sugar.
Exactly. We're not gonna go with too much sugar.
Indeed.
Indeed. As you can see, it's starting to caramelize. It's starting to caramelize quite well, actually. So now we're gonna throw in our onions.
And then you have
That's me. Now we're just gonna set it to a lower temperature. You see all the water, all the juices coming out of the onions? That's exactly what we're using to boil them. So you're just gonna keep stirring this, right, until it starts caramelizing again. If necessary, add a little bit of water if it really starts burning hard, but actually you're trying to keep the movement going so that it roasts on the inside so it gets a thick paste. All right, now at some point, all the water is gone. It's caramelizing again in the bottom, which you can recognize because you can see caramel. And that's what we want in this onion, right? Just gonna stir it through. We've been stirring it the entire time, so it's all evenly. At this point, it's completely caramelized. You can tell by the caramel in the bottom of the pot already being there, pulling strings, you know, like this. If this is happening, then you're at that point. You've been stirring it the entire time. Just keep stirring, squishing, keep stirring, squishing. Never go away from this pot, 100%. Then, now we're just gonna put it in something where we can blend it, and then we're gonna strain it, and that's it. Just gonna blend this for a very long time until everything is nice and pasty, and then we're just gonna squeeze it through a strainer. So, yeah, for the yeasts, we're gonna actually dry and roast this at the same time. So we're gonna throw this in the oven. First, we gotta crumble this up a little bit. So we're just gonna take normal yeast that you can get in any store, obviously the fresh type. Yeah, just take it in your hand and just mix it, you know, get it spread out on here. Depending how small you make it, it's gonna take longer. If you break it up smaller, it's gonna go quicker. If you have it bigger, obviously it's gonna take longer and not be as perfect as you want it. So get it nice and small, spread it out across one of these silicone mats, or baking sheet will also do, and just throw it in the oven, 150 degrees, around 20 to 30 minutes should be around the rule of thumb. Otherwise, if you have a dehydrator, you can throw them in a dehydrator afterwards as well to get it completely dry, but usually 30 minutes should be more than enough. 20 minutes, you should check, see if everything's nice and dry, crunch it in your fingers, we'll see then. All right, been in the oven, it's been a while, half an hour approximately. So we took it out. Actually, we left it in quite longer, but we turned off the oven, kind of left it open so it dries completely. So now it's completely crispy, completely cooked all the way through, nice and crunchy, nice and crispy. That's what we want. You could preferably actually use this and throw it in your pepper grinder or whatever, and just like add it to your pepper as well to give it a nice little flavor as well. But you know what? We're just gonna use this as our separate thing. All right, so we're just gonna take this, throw this in a blender, and blend the living bejesus out of this one. Okay.
like a professional.
Like a professional, that's what I'm saying. Ah, perfect. There you go. So this is how it's supposed to look. That's pretty much it. Now just keep it in a container and wait for later. All right, so next up, we're gonna smoke a little bit of oil. I actually thought about smoking the leek itself, but the thing is that the leek doesn't grab the smoke smell that much or the smoke aroma that much like fat would usually do. Fat usually takes up very much flavor, so it's always good to take something that has a lot of fat. That's why you will have like smoked fish. Well, in Germany that's the thing. I don't know if it's something anywhere else, but yeah, if you would smoke fish, they would usually take like very fatty types of fish, and that's why you have like these typical smoking fish. That's why we're using oil for this. Just gonna pour, doesn't need any proportions, depends on how much you want. I'm just gonna cover the ground of this pot so there's a lot of area that can get smoked. Now I'm just gonna take my wood chips. I'm gonna take the almond tree for this one.
Any specific reason or just because it's
Only because it's already open. These are kind of cheap, to be honest. Like, you can get them very, very easy on Amazon, whatever. If you want to, I can provide a link, but I don't think it's necessary. Now we're just gonna leave it in here for a while. Oh my God, we got some nice effects. Blowing smoke. All right, now just leave it in this thing for a while. Give it another twist later on if it's not smoky enough, but I guess like in 5 minutes, give it another quick one, and then depending on how smoky you want it, but I would say 2 times is okay.
How do you know whether it's smoky enough or not? Do you just try the oil? Okay.
Go in there with your finger. All right, that's it. By the way, we got done with our leek. So what we did here, we threw it in the oven, 200 degrees. We took a different one this time because it's a different day. So we threw it in the oven, 200 degrees, 20 minutes. Then we opened the thing up. I'm sorry.
Seriously.
Then we opened the aluminum foil and left it in there for another 5 to 10 minutes. You have to check if it's nice and mushy inside. That's what you want. Now we're just gonna keep this like this and wait for the other products to be done. So when we were thinking about doing something with the leek roots, we figured we would just wash them until all the dirt is off, obviously, and then we would keep it in a wet paper towel. But before deep frying it, obviously dry it completely. Not dry as in dehydrated, but just so there's no water on top and you don't throw water in oil, obviously. So yeah, we're just gonna keep very high oil temperature and just throw it in there for a little bit, and that's gonna be like our garnish, since it has like a nice leeky flavor. Deep fried leek, you might know from like stuff that you would put on a hot dog, and this is like our take on the topping of a hot dog, basically. Nice and strawy, nice and crisp. All right, now that we have everything, we can actually start plating, right? So what I'm doing with the leek is I'm giving it some temperature as well. I'm giving it some roasted flavor as well. The next step would be to marinate it with the Fenugreek vinegar. Just stir it through a little bit. I kept all the fenugreek inside to give it more flavor over time. This has been in here for 3 days now. I'm gonna take some of the smoked oil, drip it in there as well. Now I'm gonna season it with a decent amount of salt. And our seasoning, the burnt yeast. Or whatever it is.
Is they done? Is that the onion caramel?
This is the onion caramel. Basically here to counter the acidity. And we're gonna add our leek on top.
Leek root.
Or leek root.